Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to see a few strategies of how to solve IELTS. Is it audible now? So today we are going to see a few strategies and tips of how to solve this IELTS exam. It is an international English language testing system. And we have 4 modalities in this, that is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. We have 2 versions of IELTS. The first version of IELTS is about academics, and the second version of IELTS is about general. IELTS academic is for a person who will have to continue his higher education in abroad, say for example in US or Canada, or a person who will have to do is who will have to go in for a work and who is searching for a work and for a work permit, they will have to take up this IELTS general. Hence, these exams are very important. And for these exams, the preparation is very much mandatory because it's not like the normal examination or the normal scenario. We have certain modalities for this. And today I'm going to explain you how the structure of the test is and what are all the tips and strategies to solve this test. The first strategy or the tips which is very important to solve this IELTS is we have to have a great planning. Before planning, you cannot go in for taking up this examination. And I would like to tell you a few tips about speaking. Speaking is a very important topic in IELTS because it's a one-on-one session and it's like an interview, like you will be with the interviewer, you will be with the examiner, and you cannot have time to prepare or think. You will have to perform online. The thing is, like, you can sit one-on-one face-to-face interview, and you have 3 modules in speaking. The first module in speaking is about the introduction. So what is an introduction? Normally we know introducing ourselves is very important. And how do we introduce ourselves? That matters a lot. It is not an interview. Actually, IELTS exam is entirely different because they have different modalities. And the most important thing is they have band descriptors in IELTS speaking. And they will really look out for specific band descriptors. And in speaking, the most important thing which the examiner looks out for is your originality in speaking. So you should not be able to copy something, or you should not be able to mug up something and reproduce it. Instead, you will have to be original. Being original is very, very important. And if you try to mimic something, or if you have a notes and you mug up everything and reproduce it, it will be a failure. So be yourself in speaking session. And the most important strategy I would like to tell you is about the cogency and how you connect ideas. The first thing I would like to state about is the grammar notations and functions. In any speaking session, they look out for this grammar notations and functions. So it is very important and mandatory that when you are speaking or presenting an idea, you should speak with proper grammar. And the most important band descriptor which they notice is about the subject verb agreement. I'm letting out a secret here. If you make an error with the subject verb agreement, you will be losing a lot of increments of marks, because the band descriptor, the first band descriptor is grammar, notations, and function. The second thing which I would like to tell you is about the it's about the pronunciation, or the way you pronounce a word, or you're able to present it in a proper way. So you will have to be simple in your presentation. And the most important technique I would like to tell about your presentation is about accent neutralization. Do not mimic an accent which is similar to US or UK or any other thing. Just have a neutral accent. A neutral accent is mandatory. If you're able to pronounce it in a proper way in your original style, you are prone to get more marks rather than mimicking. And the next important thing what the examiner looks out in your speaking session is the cogency or the idea connection. That is again very important in speaking. So if they are giving you a topic or a separate topic to think and speak about, when you get fumbled or you're not able to produce ideas, then it's really a failure in an IELTS speaking session. So it should be spontaneity and continuity. You have to continue speaking and you should have connectors. So the coordinating linkers are very, very important, and it is the simplest connector. I hope you all know about the coordinating linkers, that is the fan voice for, and, nor, but, or, et, so. So this is about a few things I would like to discuss about speaking section. And the first section in speaking is about your introduction. So the examiner may ask you a few questions about yourself, your family, and especially about your neighbors and how you are living, your living style, your house. It's all a general question about yourself. And the thing is like projecting out your introduction is not about speaking. So you have to understand the introduction, the pitch, and the way you produce ideas and present it matters a lot in the first section. The second section of speaking is a little bit intricate, because where you will have to speak continuously for 2 minutes and you will be given a task card. So in that task card, I have been with many of the students, and my students have told even sometimes we get a question which is very intricate and which is difficult to solve. When you get such a question, try to speak in a generalized manner rather than rejecting it or avoiding to speak. So whenever you want to speak, you have to project it in a proper way, in a very good sequence, and all the ideas should have a correlation and cogency. So the second section, task card, you will be given 1 minute to prepare, and in that 1 minute, idea generation is very important rather than grammar notations and functions. So how to produce ideas? It's very simple. You have to give some generalized strategies of formulating an idea. Have a central point, and it's very important when you have a central point, you can generate multivarious ideas. From the central point, you will have to create a lot of ideas because the brain recognizes ideas in the same way. The second thing I would like to tell you in the second section, that is the task card, it is about the cogency or the connection. See, normally when you're talking about a topic or when you're presenting something with good knowledge, you will have to present it with connection. That is very important. And projecting out you to be a good speaker, the simple secret is usage of structural words. You should be able to understand the structural words. Structural words are nothing but however, moreover, nevertheless, consequently. So all these words will project out that you are a good speaker, and it will reach the examiner that you are able to project out things in a proper way, in a structured way, and your language is good. So whenever you start a paragraph, it is better to start with the structural words. The next thing I would like to tell you is about the structure of the speaking is about the introduction, and you will be having a presentation, and the last part will be your discussion. So the discussion part is also very important, and it is simple, where they will be asking you a few questions about how to discuss. There will be a lot of ideas which you would have projected out in your presentation part, and in the last part they will be asking you some personalized question from the presentation part, and it is again a generalized question. So whenever they ask you a question, you try to talk in a generalized manner, because it is not about the points, they are checking about your language skills. So how you are able to present your language. So it is important not to think about the core or the subject of presentation. It is important to think about the language which you present. So these are the three points in speaking section. And the most important thing is when you are speaking, you should be able to use good lexical resource. So lexicals is not about using a big vocabulary. Big vocabulary is not at all needed in an IELTS session. You will have to use simple vocabulary and especially a precision vocabulary. So the vocabulary which fits into the particular sentence. That will make a great impression to the examiner that your language is very good and you have a prompt flow of language, and the sentences are very apt and you're able to fix up a vocabulary. The fluency of a candidate is measured only with precision vocabulary and not by using bureaucratic vocabulary. And one simple tip I would like to tell you about speaking section is about listening to a lot of videos in speaking. That's very important. Before going in for a speaking section, you can have in YouTube, you have a lot of videos, and I want you to listen to all the videos to check out the flow of the language, how a person is able to converse continuously, because you should be exposed to it, and mimicking is very, very important. So once you start mimicking with your headphone, you're listening to something and you mimic something, then that will be fantabulous. You'll be able to project out great ideas. Even a frequently asked topics like you talk about your pet. Some students find this difficult. I have seen with a few students, they are not familiar with the topics. Example, one of my students was telling, "Ma'am, I don't have the habit of having a pet, and I don't like pets." And it's a good question, of course. Without a pet, it's difficult to describe about it. But at that point of time, it is not about whether you're telling the truth or false. It is about how you project the language. So you can describe, or if you have a friend of yourself or someone whom you know where they have got a pet, you can describe about that pet. It is not about how you get involved with the topic. It is about the presentation. Even one of my students was very good and he's excellent in English, but the topic he got in speaking session was a bit intricate. It is about the traditional products of India, which is very difficult for anyone to solve or to crack. But the thing is, like, he would have chosen a few things which are a few products which are present in the market, and he would have generated some ideas. So the point is, generation of ideas with proper precision vocabulary is very, very important to ace IELTS speaking, because you have some time to solve or crack this paper, especially with listening and writing and reading, because reading also has got a lot of a number of strategies. But when it comes to speaking, it is one-on-one. You will have to perform. And the thing is, next thing I would like to tell a few tips about reading. Reading is another important thing, like where you will be given a lot of paragraphs, and you will have to read everything and you will have to master things, and then you will have to project out the ideas. So actually there is a difference between IELTS academic and IELTS general in reading section. IELTS academic, it is about a person who is going for his higher education, where you will be given paragraphs. In that case, you will have to read the paragraph and get the ideas out of it, and then project out the idea, take it in a nutshell, and identify the questions and then solve it. So I'd like to tell you a few tips about reading, because as we are running short of time, we cannot go in for an elaborate session. When you are giving a passage for reading, the first important thing I would like you to imagine this. Suppose you're watching a movie. When you watch the first 10 minutes of the movie and the last 10 minutes of the movie, will you be able to grasp the idea of the movie or the theme of the movie? Of course, 90% of the theme of the movie we will be able to extract by watching the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes. It is the exact thing with IELTS reading also. The first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes will project out or give you the thesis statement idea, the base of the paragraph. Instead of spending time in reading the entire paragraph, it is better to grasp the first point and the last point. So once you get the first and the last point, you are clear with the thesis statement. After you're clear with the thesis statement, it is very easy for you to understand the message of the paragraph. Then you have to go in for a lot of shortcuts. And I would like to tell you to divide the paragraph into descriptors and explanation, descriptions and explanations. It's very simple. because anyone who is a writer, see, I have got my own blogs, and so I'm also a writer. So I would like to state this point. It is very simple that you can segregate the points from a passage as descriptions and explanations. So any writer would like to describe the person or the problem or the event which is happening. So once you divide it into description, the second part in the reading passage will be this explanation. Explanation is also again very simple. So what they are trying to explain in an event or between the persons. So if you're able to segregate this explanation and description, then your work is 90% done. So in the time given for you to solve this reading passage, the first thing which you will have to do is extraction of the thesis statement. The second thing which you will have to do is segregation of the description and the explanation. So if you are able to do this description and explanation, almost 90% of the paragraph's message you would have got. Then the next and the foremost important thing which any student who is appearing for IELTS should learn about is analysis of questions. So how can we analyze the questions? It's important to analyze the questions. It's important to analyze the question. So how do we analyze a question? It's very simple. There are different types of questions, and it is about understanding the question and what the question is about. We will have to analyze it. If you're not able to analyze a question, and it is very difficult to solve the answer. See, we have a lot of tips and strategies to solve, but we do not have a tips and strategy to analyze the question. So if you're not able to analyze the question, then it will be a mess. And I think hope you are able to see the PPT. So these are the strategies for reading. And the next thing I would like to tell you, so after analyzing the question is read the passage structurally. Structural reading is very, very important. So how can we read a passage structurally? It's a simple concept which I would like to explain you. So there are a lot of structural words in a passage. So as I told you earlier, structural words are about obviously, moreover, and consequently, perhaps. These structural words are important because they change the passage of the sentence, and they change the direction and the meaning of the paragraph. So hence, if you are very thorough with the structural words, you'll be able to present it in a very perfect way. So we will see a few things about the writing strategies. So writing is again very important in IELTS exam. In IELTS, we have two different types of writing. That is about writing an essay and writing a letter. And if you take IELTS academic, there is a difference. In IELTS academic, we will be having a graphical representation where we will have to extract the ideas and present it in a beautiful writing. And the second part in IELTS academic, it is about an essay writing, and more marks will be awarded for this essay writing rather than the first section, that is pictorial representation. So writing strategies, it is about what examiners expect. So I'm going to give you a few tips about the second section of writing, because the first section of writing, it is about a pictorial representation in IELTS academic, and it is about a letter writing in IELTS general. When it comes to the pictorial representation, that will not be a difficult problem for us because we are going to see the picture and extract data from that. The second thing which I would like to tell you, in both IELTS academic and IELTS general, we are going to see about an essay writing. So essay writing is very important. And the most important thing in an essay writing is prompt ideation. So normally we write an essay without an ideation. If your ideas are not connected, as I told you earlier, in speaking, they look out for more of your language skills. In writing, they look out for the ideas also. If you're not able to project out ideas properly and not able to connect it with good cogency and structural ones, then it is a failure. So prompt ideation is very simple, like you write a passage, you write a paragraph and connect it with good connectors, with good structural words or connectors or transition words, then it is very good essay. And I would like to tell you that how do we formulate an essay? It's a very important point which I'd like to discuss on. An essay is an amalgamation of 5 ideas with an introduction and a conclusion. So the point is, the talent of the writer is well versed or well projected in the way how he connects those 5 ideas and the introduction and the conclusion. So it is important when you're writing an essay, the prompt ideation before starting to write an essay, it is good that you have some ideation about the particular topic. And once you have that 5 ideas, connecting it with paragraphs, it becomes an easy task. And grammatical usage, again, I would like to state that it's very important in IELTS exam. Grammar is very important. And if you're not able to project out anything with grammar, then it will be a prompt failure. So once you're projecting out the ideas with grammar, proper grammatical usage, then it will be a great success. The third point I would like to tell you in writing strategies is about the coherence and cohesion. So coherence is nothing but the way the passage flows. See, normally what we do is we write an essay for our convenience, how we wanted to learn. It is we do not write an essay for others' knowledge. Right. Say, for example, we should write an essay or formulate an essay in the way the reader can read it. That is very, very important. If the reader is not able to read whatever we wanted to project, then it is a failure. So we have to project the ideas based on the examiner's view. That is very important here. And that coherence and cohesion is nothing but the connection between the paragraphs. Many of us, I have seen a lot of students writing paragraphs, and the paragraphs will be hanging here and there. There will not be any coherence and cohesion. And the structural words is very, very important. As I stated earlier, for speaking and writing, you need the structural words. And for letter writing, it's an IELTS general where you'll have to project out a letter with the normal salutations, and you will be able to write the content. But the more marks will be you'll be getting only in the second section of the essay writing. And the next important thing I would like to state is about the introduction in an essay. So how do we introduce an essay? When we are writing an essay, the introduction should be catchy and attractive. So we will have to start a sentence like many ideas pop up in my mind and multivarious ideas or just cropping up in my mind when I write this paragraph, because you're evincing an interest in the reader. When you're writing like that, you evince a lot of interest, and the reader will be really interested to read it, because it's not easy. Even we don't read someone's essay with interest unless and otherwise the explanatory passage or the first sentence is attractive and catchy. So these are few tips about the writing strategies. And the next thing is like where this IELTS exam is really recognized. That's a very important point. It is recognized, it is a standardized test recognized all over the world. So everywhere they recognize this test. And nowadays it is mandatory. If you don't take up this test, you cannot go in for other countries. And reading strategies, as I told you, these are the tips of reading strategies. And listening, I would like to tell you about the sections in listening. So the first section in listening is about the telephonic conversation. So it's a conversation between two people, and they'll be conversing about the topic, and you will have to extract the points. See, listening is like it's a talent which you should have developed from your childhood. If not so, before going in for an IELTS exam, I want you to listen a lot. If you're not able to listen, because this IELTS listening has got multivarious accents, so different types of accents. So when you're not able to grasp the accent and you're not able to follow the speech, it's difficult to answer the question. And the second section has got one speaker, and it is a talk from a guide, a person who will be explaining a place. What are all the monuments in the place or an artifacts in the place? It is about that, and you will have to explain in a detailed and a vivid manner about how they are able to explain. And what you will have to do is you'll be given a pen and a paper so that you can take down the notes. You can note the points. It is impossible for you to remember all the small details. Without a pen and a paper, it's difficult to solve this listening. And listen for information. That's very important. Don't listen just like that. Listen for information and listen with interest. These two are very important today's IELTS. And I'd like to tell you the third section and the fourth section of listening is really difficult to crack unless and otherwise you're lacking this particular interest or concentration. So you will have to listen with 100% concentration. And the third section of listening has got 3 or 4 speakers. It is an academic discussion. So they'll be discussing some topic even related to science or astrophysics. So they'll be discussing topics which is not at all familiar. So in that case, I advise that you take up notes about the different words so that you can project out in a good manner. And the last section is again an academic lecture. That's again a very difficult topic, because here uh, all of us are not familiar with all the topics. Probably we will have to listen for information. The last section, for sure, you will have to listen for information. And as per the statistics, I have trained a lot of candidates, and I have noticed where the candidates fail in analyzing the questions in an academic lecture. They are not able to analyze the questions given, and that is where they fail, and they are not able to answer it in a proper way. So I re-insist the point, you spend some time in analyzing the questions and listening. And before going in for the on the big day concept, what you will have to do with IELTS, I'd like to tell you a few differences. So these are the countries which recognizes IELTS. That is Australia, UK, US, Canada, New Zealand. So it is recognized all over the world. And this is again very important. So how your IELTS score is evaluated? As I told you, the band descriptors of this cogency, grammar, notations, and functions, and your presentation skills, your lexical resource. These are called as the band descriptors. And any examiner who comes for IELTS, they will evaluate the band descriptors, and based on the band descriptors, they will award you the marks. And you have half increments, possibility of half score, that is 8.5. And the overall score for IELTS is 9 bands. And out of 9, the person who is not able to produce any of good language will be evaluated as non-user, and the expert user can score even 9 bands. And you will have 4 modalities, as I told you: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And for each, they evaluate with 9 band score. And this PowerPoint I'd like to discuss about. It is about the differences between IELTS academic and general. So in academic and general, the only difference is about the reading and writing sections. As I told you earlier, in writing section already we discussed, it is a letter writing and essay writing. Here it is a pictorial representation and an essay writing. And in reading, there will be some factual and descriptive readings and non-verbal representation. Here it is like 2 or 3 readings about some representations of some medical issues or whatever it is. And that is the major difference between the versions of IELTS. So about the speaking, I hope I have discussed with you, and how it is evaluated, and what are all the things you have to do on a big day. So, for example, many of us feel that we are getting prepared with IELTS, and I have seen students stating that I don't need a preparation for IELTS, but we need a proper and a structured preparation for IELTS. Otherwise, it will be flop on the big day. So, the preparations which we will have to make is about having your identity card, and you'll have to take a pen and pencils and erasers. And I hope all of you know about the two versions of IELTS exam. Either you can go in for a paper-based test or a web-based test. And the most important thing when you are going in for an IELTS exam is prepare a lot. If without preparation you are going, and without taking a mock test, the time management will become a flop. If you do not have a time management, you will be failing drastically in an IELTS exam. The most important thing I'd like to state is, in the IELTS exam, they don't allow you to carry any gadgets, electronic gadgets. So you'll not be having a watch, and if you're not spending equal hours or equal time on each section of IELTS, it's very difficult to conclude the thing. And the identification details or passport, and you should have two pencils, a pen and an eraser, and do not have any this electronic gadgets. And the most important thing I would like to tell you is about a professional SOP assistance. So we are also providing SOP assistant, that a statement of purpose. As you all know, statement of purpose is very important and is of equal importance compared with your academic score or marks. So preparing an SOP is not an easy task, because you should have a valid point of why you select that particular topic or the subject. Say, for example, if you're going in for a mechanical engineering or an electrical engineering or an electronic engineering, you should be able to tell a strong point why you are choosing that particular subject, and how it evinced an interest from your childhood, and how that interest got transformed in your 10th grade or 12th grade to do your further or higher education in your particular stream or your selected field. So SOP is very important, and based on your SOP, your admission mainly depends upon your SOP, statement of purpose. So, and I'd like to tell, these are the courses we offer about IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT, SAT, CAT, PT, OET. So we are into this field for the past 12 years. We are doing all the international certifications, and we provide you 10 mock tests for each section, and the mock test will be evaluated by us. And moreover, the upgradations in TOEFL, there are some upgradations in the examinations, everything we will be informing you. And right now, because of the situations, we are doing online trainings. And along with these training, along with the international certifications, we are also providing your admission assistance for different universities with SOP and LOR preparation. And you can connect through social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And these are my blogs. And when you find time, you can go through my blog, and you can like, subscribe, and give comments. And thank you one and all for watching this session. And I need your valuable feedbacks on it. Like, share, and subscribe our channel. Thank you.